I would just say it feels like they know that they got to start taking some things back over, and they got to spend the money to do it.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, let's get to the other player that they had. Julian Sayin, okay, was the number one quarterback in the country coming out. Georgia, Alabama, LSU, not really LSU. I mean, this was a Bama thing the entire time. But look, Nick Saban retires. He goes into the portal. They will not let him out of his LOI or NLI, I should say, the National Letter of Intent. So he goes into the portal and is going to be a Buckeye. I think it's going to be one hell of a battle between him and Aaron Nolan. What a hell of a battle that's going to be. Thoughts on Julian Sayin now also being a Buckeye?
First of all, slimy as hell by Kalen DeBoer not letting these guys out of their NLIs when didn't recruit them.
Is it?
I don't think that's totally fair. I mean, like those kids were recruited and given certain promises by members of the Alabama coaching staff, which none of them are coming back.
Not on him though. That was on Saban.
Saban didn't know he was retiring for sure. He didn't know he probably had an inkling thought of it.
That man bought a house in Florida in July, and you mean to tell me that he didn't know that he was thinking about retiring?
That's fair. I just don't love that he has to waste. Now there's way more.
He's got
moves.
77 of them. I mean, hell.
Right? Yeah, he can probably transfer as many times as he wants. By the time he does decide to transfer, I understand this strategy. Aaron Nolan has apparently said that he does not intend to transfer and he's going to stay where he's at. I kind of like the strategy. And I remember listening to a recruiting show that was talking about this where before we saw Raiola change his decision in Nebraska, they were talking about this decision by Georgia to bring in two elite quarterbacks with the thought of if one of these kids beats the other out, the other one just transfers and they'll get an opportunity to start somewhere big. And it's not going to hurt the kid. It's only good for the roster. It's good for the competition. They don't end up in a bad situation. And we saw this past year that Ohio State had two guys competing and they weren't really good enough. And the third guy down, we watched him play in the Cotton Bowl and he also wasn't good enough. So to know now that Ohio State has a future, that they've got two players from the same class, and then they're in contention, I think, for one of the top guys in the 2025 class, that there is a line of succession to be coming in, that there is a bright future for the eventual winner. I will say, though, this could hurt Ryan Day on the recruiting trail because I'm willing to bet that a lot of recruits or a lot of coaches that are recruiting kids
to play quarterback recruit this situation.
Yeah, they're going to say, you really want to trust him? He's not going to just find another kid and you're gonna have to transfer out. Or you really want to deal with that, son? That's gonna get brought up. So I think Ryan Day's got to be a little careful with that.
I agree with that, but I do think that this is a little bit of a different beast here because I mean, what is Ryan Day supposed to do?
That's a good point.
I mean, if Julian Sayin picked up the phone, Joe, and said, "I want to come to Notre Dame," you mean to tell me that you wouldn't want him?
I mean, I'd take him, but like we've already got a guy. CJ Carr is already coming. I don't know. I don't know if
It's going to transfer to Michigan. I'm going to keep saying that until it happens. Look, I think Julian Sayin going there. Okay, look, he is not Joe. There are specific schools in the country that you can go to. Okay, let's call them who they have been in the past, all right, that have the personnel and weapons historically that are unreal, okay? I'll throw Georgia in there because I think Georgia just produces unreal amount of talent, all right? Alabama, okay, like the dudes, Joe, that historically Nick Saban has put into the league for the wide receiver position has been utterly insane. LSU, okay, I mean, look at the two freak of natures that they had just this year alone, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, and obviously Ohio State. Joe, he's going to be throwing the trees. I mean, there's a number one wide receiver in the country, or number one player in the country that you have the ability to throw to, and look at the dudes that he has on the outside. I just think it's a great business decision by Julian Sayin. I think he's going to be alongside two really good offensive minds and Ryan Day and Bill O'Brien, it's a no-brainer. It really, to me, Joe, when I heard Julian Sayin to Ohio State, I just thought, like, man, what a great business decision.
The other part of this too, just to round out this this thought, I mean, we just saw a kid playing the college football playoff who kind of did the same thing. Not the same thing totally, but it was at Ohio State.
You're talking about Quinn Ewers.
I'm talking about Quinn Ewers. He was at Ohio State, wasn't totally feeling it, and left and went to Texas. And now he's starting. Julian Sayin doesn't get on the field and say Aaron Nolan beats him out. He is going to have enough notoriety and name recognition to end somewhere else.
Oh, 100% agree. But here's the question. And I'm just going to throw this out there. I think he's going to be in a different situation than Ewers was, Joe, because number one, he's not reclassifying to come out and do this. But you know what the biggest thing for me is too? I think Julian Sayin's your number 2 quarterback. Who is it?
Yeah. I mean,
Devin Brown, God bless him. Devin Brown is cheeks.
We've watched him stink enough. Yeah, he's not
good. Julian Sayin might be their number 2 quarterback and could succeed Will Howard. So Aaron Nolan, can look. You know how I feel about Aaron Nolan, right? Like, you 100% agree. But you know what's funny? I saw a guy. It would be kind of crazy if him and if Aaron Nolan went to Alabama, because I've seen Kalen DeBoer absolutely just go nuts with a lefty.
I don't know if the lefty thing. I also think it'd be kind of fun if he went to Oregon, just because of his name's Air, and
that would be cool.
Get him a Jordan deal.
I just don't think if you're Ryan Day, you can turn the kid down at all. All right.
No. BetOnline remains your top spot for all of your live betting action and contests. NFL, college football, UFC, NHL are all in full swing. BetOnline is your number 1 source for wagering news, odds, trends, and predictions with both desktop and mobile access at any time. Head to BetOnline today and use promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, for 50% off your first deposit. That is a 50% welcome bonus. BetOnline, where the game starts.